All right, and welcome back, guys, to the Shadow Mark podcast. Now, still getting used to saying that right now because we're just doing our whole rebrand thing. We were formerly Forever Broken due to some, life changing events. Here we are, Shadow Mark. We're super excited about it. We're going to make the best of this rebrand, everything that's come with it. I am Derek Thompson. If you don't know me, I was a Marine for 4 years. That's where I met our wonderful co-host here in TJ Davidson,
What's up, guys?
and that's kind of where me and him made our bread and butter and decided to be best friends. I mean, is really what it's come down to, just keeping up with each other in the meantime and whatnot. But tonight, I'm super excited. We have the honor and pleasure to bring on 22 Mohawks, and that's Dave and Stacey. And we'll just kind of kick it over to them and let them introduce themselves, fill us in about what they do, who they are, and we'll go from there.
You go first.
Oh, puts me on the spot. All right, so just like one of my life story from the beginning here. I don't know.
Yeah, let's start. Let's dig into your life story. I like that.
How was your childhood?
Are we really going there, guys? All right.
Trauma. We're going trauma.
Yeah, we're going straight trauma then.
We're going straight for trauma.
It was wild. So basically, I was born and raised in Norwood, Mass. Dave as well. We've known each other since junior high. I guess my childhood was pretty fucked up, to say the least. Basically, I have my mom, my sister, my dad. My dad, he's a Coast Guard veteran, and he died by suicide in 2009. Prior to that, he had a lot of demons himself. He was an alcoholic, a pretty abusive man to my mom. Had a pretty rough childhood because of all that. But through it all, he still remained one of my best friends. Somebody I totally loved. Definitely like an amazing man, but lots of demons there, which building up throughout my life, his ways of being kind of, made for a shitty childhood per se. And then as I got older, we kind of always stayed in touch. He loved music. He loved playing the guitar. He loved kids. He was a really like playful. He'd always sit at the kids' table type of guy, always smiling, but definitely some dark demons behind closed doors. Right. And in 2009, he took his own life. And so leading up to that, I had about 6 months after he passed, I had gotten pregnant, and I have a 12-year-old daughter now, and she basically is my angel. And the story goes that my father passed away, and when he got to heaven, he sent me the sweetest angel he could find, because my life was in some deep turmoil then. And pretty much my daughter turned my entire life around and brought me to a really good place, I would say. And, she's like my saving grace. She's amazing. And what year? 2021, I think, or 2020, Dave started 22 Mohawks, and he did a post where he'll tell his side of the story, but he did a post with a Mohawk, and he was like, anybody who does a Mohawk, I'll donate $100 to a larger organization, which was like Mission 22. And I saw her and I was like, hell yeah, I'm doing that. And so I had short hair, and I got I had the Aquanet out, and I had like a cardboard box, no lie. And my mom's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I need help with this. And she's like, what the hell is going on here? She ended
up helping you, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. And so I had to get this hair to stick up. It was really short. So I ended up doing a Mohawk, and obviously in tribute to my dad's passing. And I was like, oh, this is cool, And rewind a little bit. Dave and I went to junior high together. We both grew up in the same hometown, and we always stayed in contact. He was in the Army. We would always talk. And at one point 2 years ago, he was like, I was looking for an apartment. And he was like, I have this apartment. It never worked out, but we'd always stayed in contact. And then pretty much, the 22 Mohawks brought us back together. And we've just been rocking this ever since.
Oh, what a cool story. I love
that. Is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we could dive into more of your story, and we will as we go. But we'll kick it over to Dave and kind of get your background.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, like Stacey said, I grew up in Norwood, Massachusetts, about 30 minutes south of Boston. And I enlisted in the Army April 19th of 2001. And then I did a semester in college. And then right after that, on September 4th, I shipped to Fort Benning, Georgia for OSIT infantry school. And then when did I get there? I got there on September 4th, September 5th. And then September 11th, I was wearing jeans and they gave me a BDU camouflage top to get my first ID photo taken. And I'm sitting there with jeans on and, just a mock BDU top. And that's when the first plane hit the tower. And so I hadn't got dog tags yet. Hadn't even got my uniforms yet. And I remember this like Southern woman behind the desk. It was 2001, so it was like these big block TVs at 30th AG at Fort Benning, Georgia. Everybody who Army Infantry knows 30th AG. Huge TV. It had a coat hanger for an antenna. And the woman was like, "You're going to war, baby. You're going to war." And I was like, "Oh shit! I guess this is great." And essentially went to infantry school. Did a few things. Went to airborne school. Ended up going to the Ranger indoctrination program after airborne school. And one of the things I remember with that, it was day one of that, and we're all sitting in the classroom. It was like 75 of us, and the instructor walks into the classroom and he goes, "Raise your hand if you join the Army to fucking kill people." And everyone's fucking raising their hands, right? Like, yeah, of course we kill people, And I just remember that was my introduction to like Ranger Regiment. Fast forward 3 weeks, I ended up like breaking my ankle. And that kind of changed everything. But but then let's see here. So from there, then I did a bunch of shit in the Army. I was in the reserves for a little while, got out, did some more college, came back on active duty, did some time overseas, went to Ranger school. I was a dreamer. I went to a bunch of different selections. I went to reconnaissance, Army reconnaissance detachment selection, didn't make it. Went to SFAS. I ended up going through the entire Q course, but didn't end up hurting my back. I'm like injury prone. I'm like one of those people, which sucks. But that's what the VA's for. The VA just throws drugs at you, and then you don't feel the pain anymore, right? So
then you can't feel anything anymore.
Yeah, right. No, you don't feel pain or happiness.
I don't feel
anything at all, right? And then so I got out of the Army. I got medically discharged in 2016. And went to college full time, obviously using the voc rehab, GI Bill kind of stuff. And in I think it was March of 2020, I found out that a guy that I served with on my way out, because I was like in limbo for about 2 years because I hurt my back, so I was like in and out of admin roles, like just kind of like trying to get retirement and stuff. And this one guy was in the same position as me. He was a lower enlisted guy. He was an E4. I was an E6. I was with him for like 18 months. I found out that he died by suicide. And it hit me really hard because I was with this kid every single day and I knew he was in bad shape mentally. Like, he's like, "Sergeant, this sucks." Like, he had a wife and home, and he went to the Q course, got hurt, and his life just sucked, and I felt bad for him. So I kind of took him under my wing. But once I got out, I just fucking forgot about the dude. I was like, I got my 50, 100, 200 meter targets. I'm going to tackle those, and I'm just going to get my degree and make a ton of money, like the American dream style. And I forgot about John. And the realization that I failed him as a leader really, really hit me hard. It's kind of unexplainable, really, but I took full responsibility for that. So I remember messaging a buddy, and I'm like, "Dude, John died. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, all our friends are like dying by suicide." Because there'd been like a bunch of other suicides that year. A couple of my friends died too. And I'm like, you know what? I got to do something. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm going to do something. So I shaved a mohawk into my head, and I posted on social media. And I was like, "Hey, listen, my buddy died by suicide. If anyone else gets a mohawk and hashtags 22 Mohawks, I'll donate $100 to a larger charity just to bring awareness to this." And I ended up getting we got a lot of mohawks in like the first 2 weeks, and I think I ended up like giving like $2,500 to Mission 22. And so I'm like, shit, I'm gonna keep going with this. So I created another event. I created a tandem parachute event, right? Pretty easy to do. I just called the place. I'm like, "Hey, I need 10 slots this date." And then I posted online. I'm like, "Hey, 22 Mohawks, we're gonna do a lottery pick, and if you're a veteran, I'm gonna pay for you to have dinner with your family, and a tandem parachute jump. So just sign up here.
Yeah.
And all these people signed up. 2 weeks before the jump, I pulled the names out of a hat, and like it created all this excitement. All these people came, families came. We had a huge party after, and it was like a really big hit. I'm like, cool. I'm like, this is moving the needle here, you know, because now I'm like friends with all these people. And so I'm like, shit. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start a landing page because I'm going to keep doing this every single year. I'm going to keep having this jump. And, but I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to pay a couple grand to have like a really nice website, then I'm going to like have services. I'm going to do stuff.
Right.
So I was like noodling on what I wanted to do. And I'm like, well, I obviously want to do the tandems. I probably want to have like a monthly, you know, AA meeting style, like veteran get together where we can just like bullshit and talk about, you know,
how we're all alcoholics.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I know it takes the VA like 2 years to get dogs for vets. So service dogs. So I'm like, I know that all vets don't need service dogs. Like because I don't need one, but I have one and my dog changed my life. So I'm like, shit, I'll put on there that I get dogs for vets. So we created the website, and literally the 2 days after we launched it, I got a call from Mike McGee in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That's way out east. And he's like, man, I need a dog. I heard you guys can get dogs. Like, I'm not doing well. I'm not going to make it through the winter. And I was like, shit, how am I going to get this dude a dog? Like, I didn't even do a bit, like nothing set up. I was like, oh shit,
I was not prepared for this.
This is real.
I come home and there's just dogs in the house. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, so I went and bought 2 dogs. So I had them on hand in case somebody else called. I went and bought them, and then the next day I drove one of the dogs down to Mike's house and just dropped it off. And it couldn't have worked out any more perfect for the personality of the person we gave the dog to, because Mike connected us with a bunch of people to partner with to get dog training and get dogs. And then he also created a motorcycle ride fundraiser that like generated, you know, revenue for us to keep the program going. So now Mike's actually on our board of directors.
The 22 canine
motorcycle
ride.
He does
down in the Cape.
Yeah. So he runs this
awesome.
entire event for us. And that like changed his life, right? So it literally changed that dude's life. And then that's like contagious, right? Because now he wants to help other people's lives. Right. Now he like brought in all his biker friends because he does like Harleys and stuff. They're all involved. They donate all the time. And well, you know, kind of fast forward a little bit, we ended up doing another parachuting event in Florida, but it was static line parachuting, just like the Army. And that was just such a huge event. We're actually doing that again in 2 weeks. We're going down to Florida again in 2 weeks with 20 veterans we're bringing down there. We partnered up with American Warrior Partnership, the Ocala Vet Center, and they're all going to come down. They're going to do surveys, mental health classes, suicide prevention classes.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's turned into something real, you know. And I think one of the key points is, and one of our veterans actually said this to us. He said that, thank you for giving me this dog because I had wanted to take my own life, but because you gave me this dog, I didn't do it. And, you know, one study done by American Warrior Partnership found that organizations that give dogs to veterans, that there's a 0% suicide rate. So that's true.
Wow. That's a good statistic.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Finally.
Yep.
You know, it's good to see change. And, you know, I love everything that you did because, you know, as like military members, veterans, etc., we're people of action. We like that like instant gratification as well. Right.
Yep.
So what a great idea to sit there and just be like, I'm just gonna shave my head and I'm just gonna have a mohawk. This is what I'm doing. You grabbed something immediately and stuck with it and ran with it, and that's, you know, the whole adapt overcome thing, and I love it. Like it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's pretty badass, especially seeing that the success that you're having at it is
that's
pretty
because of
impressive.
his action. He is sometimes I'm like, holy shit, what are we doing? What are you doing? We're driving to where on Christmas Day to get dogs? What are we doing? Like, where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, it's like a purpose for me too. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to do whatever I need to do. But you know, it's so rewarding to watch a vet get a dog or see a dude's face like after he parachutes for the first time. Like it's like wicked rewarding. But then you have like there's a secondary piece to it, right? It's like then you have recently in Boston, this Air Force vet died by suicide at the VA. He took his own life at the VA in Boston. Yeah. I don't know if you heard about it, but you know, his family ended up, his fiance ended up we connected with her and reached out to her, and it's like, oftentimes, you know, we get so caught up in the happiness, we forget about how morbid it can get very quickly, and that there's families left behind. Like the family piece is like, shoot, we have to help these people too, right? So like, and we've positioned ourselves in the local area as like subject matter expert leaders in the suicide awareness space, as like the understanding side of things, because we're not clinicians, right?
Right.
And people lean on us hard. Like people will call us all the time. We'll have, you know, doctors even call us and be like, hey, can you talk to my guy? Like he doesn't want to talk to the VA. So
Right.
it gets like super, you get worried because you don't want to say the wrong thing. So the responsibility has turned very, very sensitive on our end. You know, we accept that obviously, but.
I just want to point out that I find it interesting how you said that it was kind of selfish on your end because it's rewarding, and I just think that's kind of I don't know, like funny is the right word or whatever, but I don't think it's selfish at all.
I think it's a healthy thing. That's your kind of your coping method, if you will.
Right.
You know, because that's how we are too. Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're saying by saying that it's selfish, but it's not selfish because you're helping other people and you're going out of your way and, you know, dropping everything to help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is to me, that speaks volumes of your character to say that you think that it's somewhat selfish on your end is what I was getting at with that.
I appreciate it, DJ. Thanks.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people forget that he's a veteran too, right? So because he's up in the front, everything.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, because you're at the forefront, you know, and you know when you recognize good leadership, I mean that's all you can do.
Right. But you are 100% right, though. There is a lot of times where people don't want to talk to doctors, you know, because that's all they've done is talk to doctors, and it's made zero difference, you know. And that's kind of why we started doing this podcast and everything, is to give a different avenue. And for me, I'd rather talk to Derek or, you know, my brother-in-law who served for 13 years than go to any doctor.
Yeah.
You know, and I can talk to them more freely without having to, you know, worry if they don't like the way how often I say fuck or, you know, anything like that. And also they can relate. They've been in the same situations, you know, they've, you know, the same blood, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been through the same type of shit that we have. And it's just easier to build a rapport with somebody who's been there and done that.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. 100% agree. I feel like a lot of the times the clinicians kind of just have to check the block, especially the VA. Like the VA is such a bad rep. In Boston, it's a little different up here. There are some really good doctors up here. You just have to find them and just kind of stick.
Right. I think it's everywhere. There's few and far between, though.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I've gotten to, you know, visit other areas. You know, I was in Phoenix for a while, and the VA there is just a disaster.
Really?
I mean, it was to get into my first appointment was what would that end up being? 8-month wait.
Yep.
Unreal, man.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's unreal.
So you're sitting there, and you know, and it was like before they were working on the whole community outreach thing, which I think they're doing a better job with now. They're trying to anyway, and you know that's kind of where it starts for them, is just trying to fix their shortcomings. But as far as suicide goes, and you know, obviously you guys have 22 Mohawks. It's in the name, 22. We all know it's more than that. You know, just because you can never really know for sure what the numbers exactly are, but you know, we sit there and it's a lot. I started breaking down the numbers, and it's like 132 people a day commit suicide.
Yep.
So you're sitting there looking at this statistically from the vet side of it. You figure about probably 44-ish vets commit suicide a day. So out of 132 suicides in a day, it seems like veterans are becoming a larger portion of that. Where, like, what's that put us at? Like a third?
Yeah.
Of the suicides
pretty much
a day, out of the smallest percentage of people, you know, in the U.S. It's, I guess what I'm trying to get at here with this whole thing is, what are you seeing is most helpful because we haven't really seen any change in the numbers. If we've seen them do anything, they've gotten higher.
Yeah.
You know, so with everything you guys are doing already, what do you think the next step is? What do you think veterans in general can do, or people in general can do to help?
Yeah. I went to 2 weeks ago. I flew to Vegas for a day to sit in this panel on targeting a solution for veteran suicide, and it was some big names in it, like Tim Kennedy was on there, Dakota Meyer was on the panel. I don't know if those names ring a bell, but they're like
Oh
yeah, big names in our world. And like they have experience, but like I'm sitting, so I've been in the space now for like 3 years, and they're having these conversations about everything that like we already know. Like if we read up on it, and we're like talking to guys every day, like we know what's going on. And so I'm thinking I'm going to this thing, and there's going to be like a magic pill that I'm going to take, and I'm going to have all the answers to like stop suicide, And I get there, and I'm like, I should be fucking sitting up there talking, because I'll create an action item. And I walked out of there with no action items from these really well-known people. And it's not like, hey, whatever. It's not, suicide's not their space. I think it was more for like, they're involved in the veteran community. Like, what are your thoughts on it? So I'm not like dogging them by any means.
Right.
But at the end, on the way out, they asked the audience for questions. And this one guy stood up, just some random audience guy. And he was like, listen, and he said it right. He was like, you may not have 1 million followers on social media. You may not have the fucking Medal of Honor. He's like, but that shouldn't stop you from creating a village within your community, right? And I was like, ding, 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 that's the action item. Because like in our local, like my local Massachusetts like suburb, like everyone knows who 22 Mohawks is. I mean, we get the VA calling us. We have like when someone dies by suicide, their family calls us. And that's we're not tooting our horn, but like we created something that's now known in the area where like people are like feel comfortable reaching out to us. And I think that speaks volumes, because suicide awareness and prevention starts at your next door neighbor's house. It's like, hey, Mrs. Smith, are you okay? And let's talk about this. And if that's not happening, then like the larger scale people are just gonna not stop,
100%.
So I think the next step is like people like us who are like aware of it and like want to do things, need to create a tandem parachute jump and bring vets in,
Hell
whatever,
yeah.
like have a breakfast or something, and like save the people in your community first, or like be there for the people in your community first. And then we fucking beat down the government store, like, hey, give these small guys $250,000. Don't have them fill out fucking crazy ass grant requests. Like, just see that they pay their
doing stuff.
They pay their taxes. They show up. You know that they're like trying to move the needle. Give them $250,000 and measure what they can do. Because if we all of a sudden got a huge check, like we could do so much good with it. It's like our job now is turned into like a full-time fundraising gig. And it's like, God damn, like if we could just get a break and like be able to actually like focus more, I'm like going off on it. I have so much to say about this,
Oh, go
Shit,
for
keep
it,
going.
No,
Yeah,
I like it.
Keep going, dude. Like that's
going.
what this is about.
This is your platform, man.
Also,
yeah,
like the classes we're doing there.
Yeah, we teach suicide prevention classes to active duty, like USAREC here, recruiters,
awesome,
recruiters and stuff, and recruiting has a really high rate of suicide. And I think that's like another piece too. Like we train in the military, right? Like we're really good at training. It's like get your weapon, clean it, go run 10 miles, and then go to the range and shoot all day. Like we're good at that, and we condition our brain to like deal with it. But like we don't train our brains to come out of the military. So like you get out day one, you're like at your house with your family, and you're like in train mode. Like I got to go run 10 miles. I can shoot my weapon. Get out of my way to like your family. Like it's just like that mindset. Like we don't like retrain it to just be like I guess normal again. So I feel like if we had like a training program to train our mentality to be back civilian, I think that would be.
Yeah. So they did that whenever I got out. They called it steps and taps. I think they call it something different now.
Yep.
I went through that class or whatever, and they had a psychiatrist there, and they were like, okay, whenever you think of a pig, I want you to draw a pig. And so they're like, whatever, like, people ask questions, what do you mean? Like, just pig, draw pigs. I'm like, okay. So everybody's drawing their stuff, and then one by one, through all the students in the class, which were all still active duty Marines that were about to get out, she would take their picture and hold it up and be like, okay, well, so this pig only shows like 2 legs, which means that this person thinks in this direction. And this pig actually shows all 4 legs, so they think like this, or the tail's curled and blah blah. And, some guy drew a cop because he was being funny or whatever, and like, but she had an explanation for that. And like for me, like the first thing I thought of was just bacon. So like I drew like a strip of bacon that was sizzling, and she was like, okay. I'm like, so what's it mean? She's like, well, you're fucked. And I was like, well, okay. But yeah, they actually had to send me through sets and taps 3 times, and it still didn't work. But
yeah.
But to get to your point though, is that's what I'm saying is like there's not a real good how to be a real person again, outside of the military.
Well, and that's presuming, that we learned how to be a real person to start with. Most of us came out of college or high school, excuse me, because we didn't want to go to college, and went straight from there into that. So we never really experienced life before it, from the get go. And I like something that Mike Glover said on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, the military was the easiest job in the world. Like,
it really was.
He's like, everything was structured. Yep. He's like, that's where I'm happy. And that makes so much sense to me. Like, I'm just like, yeah, he's absolutely right. Because you get out and you have to deal with bills and all the responsibilities that come with it. That shit, that's enough to give a guy PTSD, just dealing with that stress.
Big time.
It's crazy.
We've talked about it before. I think the last time we talked about it was like in Afghanistan specifically, but I mean, really my entire military career, the only thing I had to worry about was just staying alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then staying alive and being where I was supposed to be on time, dressed the way I was supposed to be dressed. And that was it.
Literally.
The rest of it was going to be laid out for you, and then you just, okay, roger that. You didn't have to make any real hard decisions on your own for the most part,
Yep.
And then you get out and like, you're just on your own and you're like, shit, like, how do I file my taxes, or how do I, what I'm saying? Like just shit that, you don't learn in school, and they don't really teach you unless you look into it. They don't teach you that in the military either, because they just have like you go see the tax guy, or whatever. And like, you just don't know.
Yeah. Basically when you get out of the military, they need to assign you parents.
Yeah. Right.
All over again to teach you, this is how to be a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
This is how to be an adult civilian.
I'm a real boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do give ourselves a plug here. We do Dave's a financial advisor in his day job, but 22 Mohawks has a free financial education series. Every month we do a free virtual call that, goes through everything from basic finances to, savings to investing. Awesome. Buying a house, whatever it is. On our website under events, it's down a few events, but anybody can sign up for that. And we open it up to, the whole 22 Mohawks family. So, civilians can also sign up too, but, obviously geared for veterans. But I think a lot of people get a lot of value out of that. Just understand how to budget, how to do things, right? Yeah. Like you said, you get out in high school, you go in high school, you go in and then you get out, but you missed all those other learning pieces of life. So kind of bringing that into the equation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I think just on the civilian side, financial stress is one of the leading causes of suicide. And that makes sense because people get behind and they're stressed because they have to go to work to pay this, and then they have to pay their child support, and their child support's getting just pulled out of their pay automatically or whatever if they don't make it, and like it's just shit gets hard real quick, and it's something that you're just going to be digging yourself into a deeper and deeper hole, and it seems like there's no way out of. So I mean that's a great thing that you guys have set up there with that also.
Yeah, I was taking notes for myself so I can attend this.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm definitely gonna be hitting you up later. So.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty cool because we have like guest financial advisors come in from all over the country, so you get like different perspectives on how to, saving strategies and stuff. It's actually it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool series for sure.
So what you're saying is you give them options in different ways to learn this. It wasn't just my way or the highway.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like
it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's to your point about like being in the military, how everything was structured too. If you look at like the military as like a corporate like business or corporate entity, like one of the best built plans you could ever have, like business models, right? It's like no other company has their employees get up at 5 a.m. to go run PT.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, too
bad.
Right? You can't quit.
Yep, exactly. It's like
I can't just leave. That's what I need now.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you can try to leave, but your ass is going to jail.
Right.
I just need less options.
Yep. You know what I mean? I say to Stacey all the time too. Like one of my failures is like, you go home on leave, and then you go back, right? So it's like you go home for 2 weeks, then you go back. You go home for 2 weeks, you go back. So it's like you get home, you get to see your family just enough where you're like not pissed off at them, and then you don't have to deal with bullshit because you're out. And then you go back and you're like, fuck, I can't escape. I have to like actually deal with these problems and these issues. Family, and this really
it's like I'm stuck in this situation.
How do I deal
That's a good point.
You know, how do I deal with it? I can't. I don't know how because I've never learned how to. You know.
Yeah. Well, that and you can't just yell at everybody like you could in the military. Like if someone's not listening or doing what you want, and so that I struggled with that a lot whenever I first got out, and it was mainly with my nieces and nephews, you know, because I didn't have any kids of my own at the time. But like their parents would say, "Hey, go do this," and they'd be like, "Yeah, no." And I'm like, "Hey, you little fucker! They told you to go do it, so goddamn go do it," you know. And then my brother would be like, "Hey," and I'm like, "All right, well, fucking, you need to fucking step up and make them do it," you know what I mean? Right. And then I'm like, now
it's like
I have 3 kids, and I'm like, shit, man, I was a dick.
That's like this mental image of TJ just cussing at kids. Like that's all I can. I'm stuck on that right now.
You know, like I'm thinking about starting an OnlyFans where that's what I do. I'm cussing the kids all day long. Yeah. God damn it, shut the door. We're not trying to heat up the whole neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Cut off the goddamn lights.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny.
Don't you touch that thermostat.
No, but you're right though. You gotta like learn how to control that, I guess. But it's hard. It's hard when
it is. It is.
Another interesting thing we found too is that there's not the female population in like our like veteran suicide awareness prevention community is like grossly underrepresented, you know. And what we found is I think it's like some crazy number, like 80% of females in the military had some form of assault, you know.
Right. I just had that conversation with my dad, literally on the way over back here from dinner. Me and my dad were actually just talking about that, like exactly that.
Yeah.
Female veterans in the community, you know, are underrepresented, and they're a large portion of suicides too.
Yeah.
So what is the percentage of people in America that are in the military? Is it 1%?
Yeah, I think it's like 1%.
So you got to think about that. There's 1% of the U.S. population are military members, and then what percentage of military members are females? Probably quite a bit lower than that, right? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about how the avenues that we have and the advocates that we have, but you have to think about also like they have even less,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have a shit ton less, for sure. I mean, I was infantry my whole career, and there was 2 times I worked with females too. One of them was when I was in like an admin role at the end. There was this girl in supply that would like come by the office once a week to have like an ops meeting, and as soon as she walked into the building, the whole building smelled like woman shampoo, and everyone knew. They're like, fucking woman's on the floor. I'd be like pantless in the office, like, oh Jesus, like she's coming up, and I'd have to like put clothes on. Yeah.
This is how every military story goes usually. Then I had to
that's
put
my
pants
life
back on.
So funny. And then in Iraq, I had these 2 like civil affairs females come with just me on this like door knocking thing. We had to like knock on these houses, these doors in Iraq, and I'm like, fuck. They had M16s, like old M16s. I have this like fucking Gucci M4, you know? And I'm like, all right, girls, so like you point your gun that way and you point your gun that way. Don't fucking point it at me, you know? Whatever you do. Those are my instructions, you know? And they're like, whatever.
I don't care if you shoot, but don't shoot if you see me at all.
Exactly.
If I'm anywhere in your field of range, just don't shoot.
Keep that weapon on safe.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
That's just how I felt. Like that's how we felt. But so what I'm saying is there was limited exposure to women in the military for me. So, but now
On that same note, not to take away from the females being assaulted and everything, but there's an overwhelming amount of males who get assaulted and never report it because they're embarrassed.
That's right.
Because most of the time it's male on male assault.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So true. So true. I think I was like the SARC too in the Army. Is that a thing? Were you guys both Marines?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the Army National Guard now.
Okay. So is that what it's called? Like this sexual assault response?
Yeah, it's SARC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, SARC and Sapper.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Sapper. That's what I remembered.
And they would talk about like the male on male shit. And it happened like all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And I think a lot of the times too is just dudes being fucking like jokers, like fucking around and like turn into something like real.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you're 100% on that. Like that is an issue, I guess, if you want to say like.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like actual, not just assaults, but like further than assaults.
Yeah. Okay.
If you see what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah.
Penetration assaults.
Yeah. Like. Yeah.
No. Understood. Yep. Yeah, you're right. No one wants to report that.
Yeah, because I mean, it takes away because I mean, there's men suffer from pride and their masculinity and everything, and that's just not gonna. They just don't want to admit it. They don't want to say that it happened to them because they don't want people to know and be like, "Damn, bro, like you that really happened."
Yeah.
And then they don't want people to think less of them or whatever it may be.
Well, then that kind of like segues into like talking about like the mental health piece. It's like you see all this bad shit, and like you start thinking about it, then you got to like deal with it. And I feel like while you're in service, like you have these strategies because you're with your boys and you're just like, oh, whatever, no big deal. You don't want to talk about it because you don't want your weapon to get taken away. You're not going to like.
Exactly.
And then when you get out, you're like, I'm not going to bitch about it now because you talk about it then. And then you just like, I don't know, you drink or you do drugs or you just like, because you got to like cope with it. Suppress it.
I do all those things.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
Besides the drugs.
I do all those things.
If anybody in my units listen, I don't do drugs.
Edit that.
I don't do drugs, okay.
But that like that's what the stigma is, right? It's like, well, I've learned to take away all forms of feeling and empathy, so I'm just gonna like not say shit and just keep my head down and carry on, and then that like makes the demons come, right?
Yep.
Where it's like that's kind of where we try to position ourselves.
Right.
Like at these parachute events, dudes will jump out of planes, they'll hit the ground, they're like, oh, this is fucking awesome, this is the best shit ever, and then they trust you, they talk to you, and then they're like, I've never told anyone this, and then they'll go into some story about some trauma that they've had or like some flashback that they've had that they thought was like something else, and like you can just see the relief coming off their face when they unload that for the first time, and it's like, oh, it's like they took like 20 pounds off their body because they just were able to
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing to see that. So like the adrenaline rush around people who are just like we are, right?
Right.
Who've experienced things that we have, they're able to just like let it out, and it's like, oh, come talk to our mental health coach who's here, who actually is a pro at this, and then they like actually get counseling, and it's like it speaks volumes to like us as veterans, like, hey, just if we can like connect each other and like throw each other out of airplanes or like kick each other's ass in jiu-jitsu or something, right?
Oh yeah, roll around, dude, choke each other out.
I know a lot of people I'd love to throw out of an airplane. I'm just saying.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right though.
I'm one of those that he wants to throw out the plane.
But I don't want to be tandem with you. Anyway, so but that makes sense though with the adrenaline rush. Like when you're feeling those emotions and you're all kind of pumped up and everything, like then you're with the people that have similar experiences as you, then you are ready to open up and talk about things. Be like, damn man, like it's just easier, like there's talking about breaking the ice. What a better way to break the ice than jumping out of a fucking airplane?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see because like that wasn't the that wasn't the strategy to start, but like our kind of unfold. Like I'm like, we need to kind of hone in on that and capitalize on that to help our guys. And now it's like kind of a strategic play on helping people like relieve their PTSD and stuff,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, as you see it, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they learn as they start actually learning about mental health.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm super excited to see where it leads. The whole mental health thing's big to us. We try to support it every chance we get. And usually we try to talk about it on the show. Not always successful.
Yep.
Yeah, we get sidetracked.
But Dave brought a good point where he heard it, but he was like talking about mental health, like mental fitness, right? It's like we train our bodies, we do all these things, like, but you know, people hear mental health, and it's obviously, as soon as you hear that, it's like you think you're fucked up, or somebody's gonna like label you, or like, you know, so many people have such a way around thinking about mental health. So it's like mental fitness, like start taking care of, you know, your mind just like you would your body, right?
Yeah.
Teaching yourself and learning
I like
why you behave. So we actually started a book battalion, and so Dave was like reading so many, he reads, and he's just like, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, okay. His thoughts again, action immediately. All right, we're doing it. Like, we're sending out books tomorrow, and the first book we did was Arsenal of Hope, and it's an organization called All Secure Foundation. Jen and Tom Satterley, they're great. She wrote the book, and it talks all about PTS, trauma, relationships. It goes in deep, and we got about 30 people that wanted books that were all about it. We're like, what the hell? Like, people just kept coming up with it. We have about 30 people in the Facebook group now. We had about 15 people showing up on the call itself, and I think it opened up a lot for people to be able to share openly, like guys that just aren't ever, they don't have any, you know, they're all over the states, Ohio, people are all over California, but they get on there, and they know we give a fuck, they know we actually care, right? And then it's, as soon as one person opens up and tells something, and this happens again, the monthly meetups we do in person, but on virtual we can reach so many other people, and then they're just, you know, able to share, and guys will get off and they'll just be like, wow, I felt so comfortable with you guys. Like, it's just, you know, it's that family atmosphere that we create, that really allows people to start talking about things that they may otherwise not, or they're holding in, or they don't want to talk to their family about it, because we're bringing up all these topics, and it's like, hey, we're all just as fucked up as you in a different.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Like, we're not like above you here on this. Like, we get it, and we're here for you, and we're, you know, like, assist you and help you get, you know, something out of this where you can better one area. So I think it's been awesome in that sense too, just having open, easy conversations, like you guys said, kind of like just connecting with each other.
Yeah. Well, and that makes a lot of sense too, because, like, you know, talking about like keyboard warriors, people that want to get on there and talk shit about whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to talk shit to somebody that you don't have to. You're not. They most likely they're not going to say the kind of shit to your face that they would online, right? It's kind of the same scenario, though. You're more likely to open up to somebody that you don't know that's online or something like that, because who cares if they think you're, you know, less of a man or being a bitch about things, you know what I'm saying? And obviously in groups like you guys have and what we're trying to do, we're not going to be that way, but it's easier to talk to somebody that you don't really have, even if they do feel less of you, like, whatever, you're online. Same it is like talking shit to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's some truth to that for sure. It is kind of cool to people
never would have thought about it,
who you wouldn't think would say anything, just like speak up, tell their story, like in depth, like how they feel, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from, guy? You know?
And believe it or not, like, that's still getting that off your chest, though. You know what I mean? Like, because you're still telling somebody. It's just not face to face, but you're still telling them and letting that out. You know, which is a big problem that, you know, men in particular have, and pretty much any service member, because, you know, you're supposed to be hardcore, hard charging all the time. You know, and if you just bottle that up, eventually it's got to go somewhere. Like, you're gonna implode if you don't release some of that.
Yeah, big time. It's funny too, like when the withdrawal of Afghanistan happened, a lot of my old soldiers would call me, you know, guys who did a bunch of tours over Afghanistan. They were like, and they would just call and they would talk to me for hours, and the conversation would be like, hey, Sergeant Camp, how are you? Good, how are you? And then they would just like unload on like what happened in Afghanistan, and they can't fucking believe that everyone's getting pulled out of there, and like, we're not done there, and was it all in vain? Like, I think the reason that they felt okay to call me and like tell me that shit is because of like where I positioned myself, like as their former like senior guy, and now I'm like, hey guys, let's fucking hug it out, you know, like
Right.
And they're like, oh, all right, fucking
in that voice too.
Sergeant Camp's doing it,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna fucking hug it out too, you know. And then it's like,
Yeah.
and it happens, and then they don't die. They don't take,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like, who cares how it happens? Like, as long as they're not fucking putting a gun to their head, you know, it's
yeah, that's a win.
yeah,
you know,
It's always
it sounds weak and funny, but if it fucking saves a life, who gives a shit? In my opinion.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah,
that's where we're at. You know, if you don't like what we're doing, then fuck you.
Yep.
I mean,
Dude,
like,
you're 100%, TJ. Like, literally, that's how I feel with people. They're like, oh, you should do this and you should do that. And it's like, that's not how we're fucking doing it, man. We don't care about your fucking money. We don't care about a partnership. We're here to, this is our mission. This is what it is.
right.
And that's what you're going to do.
Literally, we had that conversation today because people are so fucked up and greedy and selfish. And like, we're not here to capitalize on, we want
to save fucking lives.
My friends fucking died by suicide. People who I cared a lot of, people who I consider more family than fucking people in my family. And I would never have thought that they would have done something like that. And I wasn't there for them. They're trying to fucking make a buck off me because of, you know, it's like, get the fuck away from me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. It's people. Yep. It's kind of crazy to see how like just, you know, misvalued people are anymore. Or like we just, it's not the
good
same
way to put it.
Used to be.
Misvalued or no fucking values. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, Derek. Yep.
Like it's just it's crazy to think about. I mean, everyone's more about money and making a dollar. It doesn't really matter what the cause is behind it. They just want to get their money in wherever they can.
And on top of that, like it's just fucking wild to me that whenever I tell some people what Derek and I are trying to do, sometimes like, okay, well, you know, all the hearts and minds, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm glad you feel that way, so you can fuck right off with that.
Fuck right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Fuck right off, you know, and put that in your Google Maps, and when you get there, fuck yourself.
No.
But
no.
anyways, right. So, but like, I don't. That's my thing is I don't give a shit. Like what how you feel about it, because this is why we did this, is because we've had a lot of close friends kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like really close friends that we served with, that we were with every day, and we'd been talking, and we're like, dude, like we got to fucking do something. Like I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do, but we got to do something. And so that's when we talked about, you know, there's, you know, like Black Rifle Coffee Company and all these veteran-owned companies that are doing things, and I'm like, I don't really know what they're doing to help the veteran community. You know, because I'm not part of that, but all I know is that the first thing we need to do is get out there so people can hear us and know what we're trying to do and raise the awareness. And Derek was like, what about a podcast? I'm like, fucking A, dude. Like, podcast, we'll get on Facebook and let's just fucking send it, you know? And that's where we're at. And we just trying to get the awareness out there and let people know that there are like-minded folks just like you and just like me who are dealing with shit and don't know what to do about it. We all go to doctors. We're all taking this medication. It's still not fucking working, you know? So what else do you do? We don't know. So instead of just sitting here and being like, well, fuck, like I wish that wouldn't happen, like, let's do something about it, you know?
Yep.
You guys are doing your thing, which is great. It sounds like you guys have been very fucking successful at that. Hell, even with just the podcast alone, we've had people reach out to us and be like, man, I can't believe that you hit us up randomly, because like I was telling my friend that I was feeling like killing myself, didn't have anybody to talk to, and then you hit us up on Facebook. Just a simple, hey man, how's it going? You know?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
It's small stuff, man. I mean, and I think that's something we all take pride in.
Definitely bringing people together. So what you're doing is getting more ears and people hearing more stuff. So you're getting, you know, other organizations out there, other people trying to do great things. And just like Dave said, getting, you know, people in the community out there more, talking more people. The more we're doing a huge event in Boston on Sunday. It's called the Be Fit Challenge with the Boston Bruins Foundation. They made us one of their charity organizations for this event. It's a huge event. It's for police, military, first responders, firefighters, and they brought us in. But story on that is we brought in a bunch of local organizations like ours through sponsorships, and we help them out to get them on the floor so that they can be more resources. Because not everybody's we're not gonna be for everybody, right? Somebody might live further up. We do service people all over the U.S. actually, but
right.
just to have more people out there for more resources to hopefully, save somebody else's life or bring somebody something that they otherwise wouldn't have seen. And it's just like you guys doing this podcast, you're going to get more awareness out there. So it's great that you guys just got on action in that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, because you're spreading it in your area, which is huge. And then it will come back this way. So yeah, it's super important that we all. That's the thing. It's like if we all come together, all over the place, like and spread the word. Because like we're not competitors. We're we're not that.
We're a team.
No, yeah, we're in this together. Yeah. Like this is
exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot do it differently.
They lose sight of that.
Yeah, we're trying to. I mean, I'll tell if I can recreate this in fucking Nevada or Washington or like if we can recreate this everywhere. And then someone else does it, like it's like that's what we should do, and then just like have a parachute jump or have a book club or whatever, have a pot like whatever, and just bring people in and just have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you nailed it with the community involvement. That to me, I'm very big in community. Like start where you're at and do what you can to help your neighbor.
Yep.
And then I also feel like everybody that thinks that we're as separated as a country or whatever, that's not really true because we're all very similar. Just get out and talk to people. Get out and meet your neighbors. You know what I mean? I live in the small community I live in. There's a lot of elderly folk around. Anytime that we have, what little snow or a little bit of ice that we have, the older people, I always go to their house and I put salt on their walkways and around their cars and stuff because I don't want them slipping and breaking a hip or whatever. Like, and I'm not getting paid to do that. And they don't even know I do it. I just do it because I think that I'm able-bodied and I should be doing shit like that.
Right.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So.
Not many people think like that these days, I don't think.
And you're absolutely right.
Right. And it'd be a better world if everybody did.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. I feel like that's how it should be everywhere. And it's just not.
One would think.
Yep.
But, like I said, I mean, I guess it's just the pessimist side of me. But it's just like people kind of suck,
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, when
that's
like us though, like people that have really like-minded missions and experiences, like, and it's like, oh, these are my people, right off the bat. It's like this is the people I want to surround myself with, and create something with. The conversation is different. When you talk to people,
right?
Who you can.
I mean, for us, it's like family.
That's exactly just 22 Mohawks family we started because that's like I'm up people's ass. Like I care so much. I'm like constantly messaging people and I'm bringing them in. I'm like, we have to start. So we started a Facebook group called the 22 Mohawks family, which is a smaller group. But the amount of communication, togetherness that's in there from like random people all over the place, like people that did each other. It's not just like a group where people go on there and post something they're doing. It's actually like really connecting people where they're helping each other. They're becoming friends. It's like a family. And just like you said, I think that's the key piece too, is like having more people you can reach out to or know are in the same place as you or, that those type of things.
And they're not all that.
Yeah.
Like non-veterans as well too, that join.
Yeah. And that's the huge thing and something else that we kind of look at as being important. I mean, we're starting to see what, first responders, people like that, they're dealing with a lot of the same issues that the veteran community is dealing with. And I was a firefighter for 10 years. So in EMT, so like that's my family too.
Right.
So we try to advocate for civilians and everyone, not just, veterans in general. And we're trying to kind of build that like conversation between everyone. Veterans, civilians, everyone, just to be able to kind of realize that we're all on the same page.
Exactly. I think that's where the value is, and there's power in that,
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got, a gym back there, TJ? Is that like
I mean, don't let that fool you.
Like that's just the backdrop.
The only time that gets used is like when my friends come over to use it. You know what I'm saying?
$35 a month membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a $20 membership a month and no grunting.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
Listen, hey, case of beer a week.
All right.
Call it even.
That's the way to do it right there.
No,
but going into that family piece too, I think bringing in the spouses, the wives, the children. I mean, there's so many people that just need help, especially right now after COVID, right? After all the shit going on in the world, like right now, like the rate of children taking their own lives is insane to us, right? We have some close people that are part of our family here, and 14-year-old kids, like it's heartbreaking, right? So one of the things we're going to eventually do is it's like getting into that level of being able to help everybody, I guess, on some level.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a huge, like learning curve, but I think everyone will get there. Yeah, for sure.
I think you're right. I think the needle's being moved pretty quickly now. You can just feel it. We had an opportunity to speak to a university athlete, and it was different in there. They weren't afraid to kind of talk about like mental health stuff, which it wasn't like that when we were kids. It was like rub some dirt on it and just move out.
Yeah, suck it up, get up,
go talk to someone. It's gonna be all right, and they do.
Yep.
So it's good.
Yeah, that's kind of been our thing. Is we talk mainly about military, current and veterans, and then like first responders, police, firefighters, nurses, doctors, people that deal with kind of fucked up shit on the daily, who are more prone to having issues. But we're not just for them. Like we want everybody to realize that we're for everybody.
Yep.
And honestly, the amount of children that are committing suicide is alarming to me. Like that's especially as a parent, like that scares the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was something I didn't realize was like so prevalent until I was in EMS and we were responding on those calls.
Yeah,
and it was just like we've got to do a better job at teaching ourselves and our kids how to deal with it, like adverse situations.
Well, and it's like you said, just throw some dirt in it, and that's one of our big things. Is there's a stigma, especially for men, like, hey, quit being a bitch, like just man up, Well, that's not working.
No,
you know what I'm saying, like, and we say this like it's okay to not be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are having issues, then fucking say something, talk to somebody. It's okay to seek help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like no one's going to think less of you. As a matter of fact, it takes more courage to speak up and say something about it than it does to try to be a man about it and not say shit.
That's right. And like what Stacey was saying too about physical fitness, right? It's like you exercise, you feel good, it keeps you healthy, keeps you ticking. You don't wait until you have an injury for the most part to do some type of exercise, right? Like do preventive maintenance. Like most people don't do preventive maintenance on their mental fitness, right? So I can't help but think about that guy Stylianos, who died at the VA 2 weeks ago, and it's like he was at the point where he didn't give a fuck. He had his gun at the VA, and he was ready to just go. And I feel like when you're at that point, it's going to take a lot to be talked out of it. I think if you are talked out of it, then. But I think it was a lose-lose for the people who were trying to talk him out of that. I think he was already there. So it almost like proves the point where it's like if you're not taking care of your mental fitness, weekly kind of deal, like you would do your weekly 5-mile run or whatever you do, your 5-mile
daily brushing your teeth,
then you're just going to spiral into that spot where all of a sudden, like you're a normal person who's so fucked up, and it's like taking my own life's the best option. And you talk yourself into that. It's like almost like a fucking horror movie, like a disease where you're just like, yep, I'm just going to do it, and it's wicked scary. I mean, just like seeing how this shit plays out, like real time, it's scary to think about, But
and just the fact that people get to that point is like, why is that a thing? Like, why is there not a step that we could have before that? You know what I'm saying? Like something to prevent that.
I know
in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I think we got to figure that one out. It just sucks,
Yeah,
but
it does. Really does.
Hey, we'll work on it together.
But that being said, I don't want to keep you guys all night. But I think we've God, you guys have talked about pretty much everything on my list anyway.
Phew.
You guys are incredible.
I appreciate
like you've done this before.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, we appreciate you reaching out, and if you guys ever need anything from us, obviously reach out, let us know. But we'll get your sizes too. We'll send you over some cool shirts.
Yeah, I was gonna let you kind of just plug the rest of your stuff and make sure we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, definitely.
I know you guys have a lot of partners, a lot of people that have helped you get where you're at. I mean, feel free to brag them up.
Yeah, do you want to do your spiel?
Oh, my spiel. So what do we have coming up? So like I had said, we have the how do we forget this? So we're based out of Millis, Mass right now, but we are opening. We have a grand opening. We secured a building, so we have a spot, the Skiff, and we're gonna opening March 18th is going to be our grand opening. We're going to get in there March 1st, and basically we're going to be able to run, all of our classes out there. We're going to be able to have, our guys coming in for training for their dogs. We're going to have, there's going to be a gym downstairs, which is a different facility, but the gentleman there, he's going to be teaching like nutrition classes and how nutrition affects your depression, anxiety, PTS, all these other things. So we're going to really make it a one-stop shop, right? For the fitness, for the nutrition, for the, mental fitness, for the companion with the dog training, the family aspect. We're going to be able to, it's going to be, anyway, so I had to plug that, but that's up in Medway, Mass. We'll have information on that coming out. We have an event this Sunday, which is February 5th.
It's the Beat Fit Challenge
with the Boston Bruins, which is great. And so we'll be raising money through that till the end of February. We have our book battalion. We took a little break, so we'll be starting that back up in 2 weeks. And we're going to start like a paint night too, because some people requested that, which we'll see how that goes.
Paint night. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of people,
I'll be drawing like gigantic cocks with balls and shit. And,
I was gonna
that's
say,
what I thought. That's the first thing I thought of.
Happy little trees. Right. So we'll be doing that.
You can edit that out if that was too.
No, you're good. I was just thinking of Louis Capaldi. He got sat in front of a naked guy, and they had to paint. And he said he just ended up drawing a big penis because he said that's all I could focus on.
So fun.
And that just reminded me of that.
Well,
back to the events.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, back to the events.
We have a lot of stuff on our website. We have a lot of events, and then we encourage people to follow us on social media. But the 22 Mohawks family group, you can search that on Facebook, and we post a lot of stuff in there too. We just got a lot of love from Atlantic Subaru, down the Cape. They did a Share the Love event. So all the people that come in to buy cars, they can pick a charity. They were, Meals on Wheels, Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we were the local charity, and we just smoked it. Like,
awesome.
Amazing.
That's badass.
People love dogs.
Yeah, they really do.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, our Pups for Vets program. So we'll pair any veteran up with a dog. We'll figure it out if they're in a different state. They don't have to be here in Mass. So
we're doing one in Georgia tomorrow, actually. One of our veterans is in Georgia. She's picking up her dog tomorrow. So we're going to post it.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That'll be our first one in Georgia. So
spreading it out. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so anybody in a tough spot or anything, they can just reach out to us anytime. If, they want a companion dog, we'll work out, getting them the dog, getting them some training in there, wherever they live at. Free of cost to them. So we handle all that. We'll do the legwork. What else do we have going on? Again, just check out the events page.
Yeah, the events page is probably the best way to see what we got in the short term. But next we have our big jump, our big retreat, February 18th to the 26th. 19th to the 26th of February. That's a week-long tan parachute event with like mental health and stuff. I think I talked about it in the beginning, but yeah, if you guys should check it out too. And if you guys are around next year, you guys can like hop in and.
Yeah, we'd love to, man.
Yeah,
hop in and hop out.
Hop in and hop out.
Yeah, hop in and hop out.
Hell yeah.
We'll stay in touch and we'll keep
definitely
up to beat with each other and it'll be this is good. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's great for us. We're we want, just like you guys, I think, always be adding branches to the tree.
Right. Yep, definitely.
Yep.
We'll plug this too. We want to, within the next few years, is get a tandem parachute jump in every state.
That's our goal.
That's one of our goals. So we're always looking for people that want to kind of pair up on that.
You got 2 states right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 2 states right here.
So we're going to facilitate that. So eventually,
awesome.
which day?
We're thinking Labor Day, or the day before.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Days off, you know.
Yeah, it's a great day.
Yeah. Also, before we go, you know, we can talk about offline or whatever, but send us all your links to everything you have going on, and we'll post that on all of our social media and stuff like that,
Awesome.
just to help get that word out.
Awesome.
So
yeah, then we'll get your guys' link and stuff tagged in the show notes.
Sweet.
Or episode notes, and make sure that goes well. But is there anything else you guys want to hit on? I mean, you hit the dog, your canine stuff. You, got your events out there. I mean, if there's anything else you guys got?
No, I think that's.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think that's it. If anyone needs anything, they can reach out to us anytime.
Yeah, and you guys too. We're really grateful that you hit us up. We always love connecting with other people and getting more information out there. So.
Yeah, we're super glad to have you guys on. That's awesome. You know, I love everything that you guys are about and what you're doing. So,
thank you. Yeah, we do really. It means a lot that you guys called us and brought us in, for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate you taking the time and effort to put into us and give us your time. I mean, that's a lot for anybody. So,
no, we're happy to do it.
Yep, definitely. We'll so we'll send you a follow-up email. We'll get you some links and stuff, and then if you guys want to reply with your links and prizes, we'll get you over some cool gear.
Yeah, you betcha. That being said, I think we'll wrap it up. Me and TJ always do this thing. What'd you take from today's episode? So if you guys want to jump in on that, we'd love to have you. If not, me and TJ will just do our synopsis.
Yeah, we'll jump in. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, what'd you guys take from
being a part of us?
Yeah, no, I think it's cool that you guys are both in different states. I think that's and you guys are best friends. I think that's really cool. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that like I can connect with like-minded veterans like instantly. You know what I mean? Like as soon as you guys started talking, I'm like connection. Like I know that these guys are cool, and I know that they're on point, and they're thinking the same way I'm thinking. And I think it's it gives me a warm and fuzzy when that happens, because it doesn't happen all the time. Like sometimes you meet some really fucking weird vets, but you guys aren't.
Yeah, they're up there.
Yeah.
So that's my big play. Yeah.
For me, it's just the need of more information getting out there, right? So you guys went into action. Like you had said, you guys are sitting around and you're like, what are we going to do? Just sit here and talk to each other about it, about how fucked up it is. Our friends are dying. Like, what are we going to, but you did something. And I think, and I'm like, let's think about this for a little bit. He's like, go, go, go. No time to think. It just happened. Yeah. I just go along with it now, but I'm always like, oh shit, but I think you guys just got into action and started this. Because you'll reach other people that you might not have otherwise had these resources or different things. So I just, commend you guys for doing that.
It's the now mentality. I think a lot of veterans right now.
Yep. It's a sink or swim thing,
Yeah, I need it.
Yep.
Like when I want something done, I'm doing it now.
Exactly. Yep.
We'll deal with how it ends up later. That's not a now problem.
Yep.
That's not a
that's later problem.
I like that one. Not a now problem. That's
a
problem. Oh, that's a good one.
Actually. I do that all the time. I'm like, that sounds like a later me problem.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But that being said, we'll wrap it up. And TJ, what'd you take?
Man, a lot. Like, you guys are awesome. Again, thank you so much for coming on and just being a part of this. You guys are doing great things. Just everything, man. Like the canine thing is, and I know that's a really important thing. So I did something similar, not near to the level of what you're doing. So there's a stray pit bull showed up at my house one day, and it was cold outside, and I could see like every bone in his body. Oh. So I took a bowl of food out there, and as soon as I walked out, he was like skittish, tried to run away and stuff. And I put the bowl of food out there, and I went back in the house. And, I waited, and like about an hour later, the food was gone. And then my brother actually showed up at my house, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he steps out of his truck, and he's got this big just thing he's holding, and it's the same dog wrapped up in towels. And he's like, yeah, man, he's like, dog showed up at my house. So I gave it a bath, tried to feed it. It only ate a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, because I just fed it like 8 pounds of food, and he's like, I don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, yeah, if I leave him here, man, I'll take care of him for a little while,
Yeah.
So I got him nice and fat and named him Brutus. But anyway, didn't know what I was going to do with this dog. I already had like 37 other dogs. But anyway, my other brother was telling me that one of his friends was an Army veteran who had recently got out of the Army and stuff. And he was working for his dad. And then his dad suddenly died. And he was in a real bad way. And he was like, man, like, don't know what I want to do. And he was like, I'm thinking about getting a dog, but I don't have any money. And I'm like, well, shit, like, I got this dog that I don't know what to do with.
Yep.
Like, so he gave me his number, and I called him, talked to him for a little bit, and I met up with him, and I gave him Brutus. And he was like, dude, he's like, I know this sounds really funny, but like, that dog changed my fucking life, dude. And I'm like, that's awesome. You know, so the fact that that was like one of the things that you're doing, like that really is a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's hard. It's, it tugs on the heartstrings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's an awesome story. Really cool story, actually. That's a true rescue right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's like pit bulls for parolees.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Let's start a TV show.
I know.
Just TJ the parolee over there.
It's like 37.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got all of them.
37 dogs, like 14 kids, whatever. You know, but,
yeah, everything. Got all of them. Yeah, I don't know. I took a lot just hearing you guys and what you guys do, and you know how we all kind of have like we got this call to action and just started doing it. I think that was kind of like the big takeaway for me is we all are very like-minded, you know, in what we do and how we react to these things. And we're all trying to be proactive, not reactive, but we're stuck in the latter right now. Just because of situations, but I think we're going to get ahead of it, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited that we got to have you guys on. I mean, it's just incredible. It's great to talk to new people and do see the similarities and everything that's going on. Seeing you guys doing so much good stuff, just it gives me a warm and fuzzy knowing that you guys are out there doing, you know, what we should be all doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So anyway, we'll wrap it up, and I hope everyone has a great night, and we can't thank you guys enough for your time.
Same
You
here.
too, gents.
We appreciate it,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks much.